February 9th, 1931. Lucky Luciano was outnumbered 10-1. Joe Masseria had sent his deadliest crew, Salvatore Sally Shields, Shilatani, Giuseppe Joe the Boss, Morello, 8 more killers whose names were whispered in fear across New York. They cornered Lucky in a Red Hook warehouse. No witnesses, no way out, no backup. Lucky was 29 years old. Masseria was the boss of bosses who'd ruled New York for a decade. Everyone expected the same ending, Lucky Luciano dead in a warehouse. But what Masseria didn't know, Lucky Luciano had been planning this war for 2 years, and he didn't fight alone. 90 minutes later, only one of those 10 men walked out alive, and the message he delivered to Joe Masseria changed the Mafia forever. To understand what happened in that warehouse, you need to understand the Castellammarese War. By 1930, New York's Italian underworld was divided into 2 factions. Joe the Boss, Masseria controlled Manhattan and parts of Brooklyn. Salvatore Marenzano controlled the Bronx and was backed by Sicilian mustache P's, old-world mafiosi who believed in traditional blood feuds. The 2 bosses were at war, not over territory, over philosophy. Masseria was greedy, paranoid, and violent. He demanded tribute from everyone, killed anyone who challenged him, refused to work with non-Italians, even though Prohibition made it clear you needed Jewish and Irish partners to succeed. Marenzano was equally traditional. He believed in the old Sicilian structure, a boss of bosses who ruled like a king. He wanted to recreate the Mafia hierarchy from Sicily, in America. Both men were dinosaurs, and Lucky Luciano knew dinosaurs go extinct. Lucky was different. He'd grown up in New York, not Sicily. He'd worked with Meyer Lansky, a Jew since they were teenagers. He'd partnered with Arnold Rothstein to build bootlegging operations across the East Coast. Lucky understood something the old bosses didn't. America was about money, not honor. Business, not blood feud. If you wanted to win, you needed structure, organization, and the willingness to work with anyone who could help you make money. But Masseria and Marenzano were stuck in the past, and their war was destroying everyone's profits. By early 1931, Lucky had made a decision. Both bosses had to go, and he was going to kill them both. But first, he had to survive long enough to do it. January 1931, Lucky was working as Masseria's lieutenant, his number 2. On paper, Lucky was loyal. In reality, he was planning Masseria's death. But Masseria wasn't stupid. He'd survived in this business for 20 years by being paranoid. And lately he'd been hearing whispers that Lucky was too friendly with Meyer Lansky, too willing to work with Jews, too ambitious. Masseria called Lucky to a meeting at his office in Little Italy. "I hear you're making moves without telling me," Masseria said, lighting a cigar. "What moves?" "Moves with the Jews, with Lansky, with people who aren't us." Lucky kept his face neutral. "Business is business, Joe. Lansky has connections. We use him. We make more money. Isn't that the point?" "The point," Masseria said slowly, "is loyalty. You work for me, not for yourself. Not for the Jews. For me. I've always been loyal." "Then prove it. There's been talk. People saying you're too ambitious, that you want my position, that you're working with Marenzano." That last one was dangerous. An accusation of working with the enemy. If Masseria believed it, Lucky was dead. "Joe, I would never. I want you to handle something for me." Masseria interrupted. "There's a shipment coming in from Canada. Whiskey. I need someone I trust to oversee it. Alone. Tomorrow night. Red Hook warehouse." Lucky's blood ran cold. This wasn't a shipment. This was a setup. "Sure, Joe. Whatever you need." Lucky left the meeting knowing he had 24 hours to live, unless he did something brilliant. He went straight to Meyer Lansky's office in Midtown. "Masseria's trying to kill me. Tomorrow night. Red Hook warehouse. Meyer lit a cigarette. How many men will he send? At least 10, maybe more. He wants it done right. So you don't go. If I don't go, he knows I'm on to him. He'll come after me somewhere else. Somewhere I'm not ready. Lucky paced the room. No, I go, but I make sure I'm ready. Ready how? You remember that warehouse? The layout. Meyer had been there before. Yeah. Single entrance. High windows. Lots of crates. Those crates are our advantage. And those high windows, that's how we get people in without Masseria knowing. Lucky's plan was simple, but brilliant. Masseria's men would enter through the front door, but Lucky's men, Vito Genovese, Albert Anastasia, and 5 others would enter through the roof, hours before. Hide among the crates. Wait. When Masseria's killers arrived, they'd think Lucky was alone, but he wouldn't be. It's risky, Meyer said. Everything's risky. But this ends it. I kill Masseria's top men. I send a message, and then I make my move. February 9th, 1931, 3:00 p.m. Lucky's crew entered the Red Hook warehouse through a roof access hatch. Vito Genovese, Albert Anastasia, Joe Adonis, Frank Costello. 4 more soldiers, all armed, all loyal. They positioned themselves behind crates, in shadows, places where they could see the main floor, but couldn't be seen. Then they waited. Lucky arrived at 8:00 p.m., alone, walked through the front door like he was supposed to. The warehouse was dark except for a few overhead lights. Crates stacked everywhere, silent. Lucky lit a cigarette, waited. At 8:17 p.m. he heard it. Cars pulling up outside, doors slamming, footsteps. The warehouse door opened. 10 men walked in. Salvatore Sally Shields. Shilatani led them. Tough guy from East Harlem. He'd killed 15 men, always up close. Always looked them in the eye. Behind him Giuseppe Morello, one of Masseria's oldest soldiers. Then 8 more. All carrying weapons. All experienced. They fanned out, surrounding Lucky. Blocking the exit. Sally smiled. Lucky Luciano. The boss wants to send his regards. Lucky took a drag from his cigarette. Tell him I said thanks. You know why we're here. Yeah. Joe thinks I'm disloyal, thinks I'm working against him. He's wrong. Don't matter if he's wrong. Matters what he thinks. And he thinks you gotta go. Lucky looked around at the 10 men surrounding him. That all Joe sent? 10 guys? I'm almost insulted. Sally's smile faded. You got about 5 seconds to say your prayers. I got something better than prayers, Lucky said. I got friends. On cue, lights came on throughout the warehouse. Lucky's men emerged from behind crates. 8 guns now pointed at Masseria's 10 killers. The odds had changed. Sally's crew spun around, weapons up, but they were surrounded. Lucky's men had them in crossfire. Here's how this works, Lucky said calmly. You drop your guns, you walk out of here. You tell Joe Masseria that the old ways are dead, that I'm done taking orders, and that if he wants me dead, he better come himself next time. You're crazy, Sally said. You think you can just... Lucky nodded. Vito fired a shot into the ceiling. The sound echoed like thunder. Drop your guns. For 10 seconds, nobody moved. Mexican standoff. Then one of Masseria's men, a young kid, maybe 25, lost his nerve. His gun clattered to the floor. That broke the spell. 2 more dropped their weapons, then 3 more, but Sally Shields wasn't dropping anything. Neither was Giuseppe Morello. And 3 others. 5 men still armed, still defiant. Last chance, Lucky said. Sally raised his gun, pointed it at Lucky. You're a dead man, Luciano. Maybe not tonight, but soon, Joe will. Albert Anastasia shot him. 1 bullet, center mass. Sally dropped. Then all hell broke loose. Gunfire erupted. Lucky dove behind a crate. His men opened fire from their positions. Masseria's remaining armed men shot back, but they were exposed. No cover. No plan. The firefight lasted maybe 90 seconds. But in that 90 seconds, the future of the Mafia changed. When the smoke cleared, 4 of Masseria's men were dead, including Giuseppe Morello, one of the original Black Hand members from the early 1900s. 3 were wounded, but alive. 2 had surrendered, and 1, a soldier named Sal, was on his knees, hands up, begging. Lucky walked over to him. "You're going to deliver a message for me. Anything, please. You tell Joe Masseria that his time is over. Tell him Lucky Luciano isn't his soldier anymore. Tell him the young guys are tired of the old ways, and tell him if he wants war, he'll get war. But it's a war he can't win." Lucky pulled out an ace of spades from his pocket, handed it to Sal. "Give him this. Tell him it's a reminder he's gambling with his life, and the house always wins." Sal took the card with shaking hands. "He's going to kill me for bringing this message. Maybe, but he'll definitely kill you if you..." Sal ran out of that warehouse like hell was chasing him. Lucky looked at the bodies, the blood, the wasted lives. "Clean this up," he told his crew. "Make it disappear. No evidence. No witnesses. As far as anyone knows, these guys just vanished." Meyer Lansky came out of the shadows. He'd been watching from a catwalk above. "You just declared war on the most powerful boss in New York." "No," Lucky said. "I just ended a war that's been going on too long. Masseria and Maranzano, they're both dinosaurs, and I'm the meteor." What happened next became Mafia legend. Sal delivered the message to Joe Masseria. Masseria went ballistic, sent more men after Lucky, but Lucky was ready every time, had informants, had better intelligence, had younger, hungrier soldiers. The war between Masseria and Lucky lasted 3 months, but everyone knew how it would end. April 15, 1931. Masseria was eating lunch at Nuova Villa Tamaro restaurant in Coney Island. His bodyguards waited outside. 4 men walked in: Vito Genovese, Albert Anastasia, Joe Adonis, Bugsy Siegel. They shot Joe Masseria 6 times while he was eating spaghetti. He died instantly. With Masseria dead, Lucky turned his attention to Maranzano, made peace, pretended to accept Maranzano as the new boss of bosses. Then, on September 10, 1931, Lucky sent 4 men disguised as police officers to Maranzano's office. They stabbed and shot him to death. In one day, September 10, 1931, Lucky Luciano killed the boss of bosses and ended the Castellammarese War, and he created something new, the Commission, a ruling body where the 5 families would settle disputes without bloodshed, where business came before ego. It was the structure that still runs organized crime today, and it all started in a Red Hook warehouse on February 9, 1931, the night Lucky Luciano proved he was smarter, faster, and more ruthless than the old guard. The warehouse was demolished in 1957, but before it came down, someone carved a message into the wall. Feb 9, 1931. Lucky stood here, 10-1, and built an empire. If this story inspired you, smash that subscribe button. Drop a like if you believe intelligence beats numbers. Comment below. Would you have walked into that warehouse knowing it was a trap? Next week, how Lucky Luciano created the Commission and changed organized crime forever.